2019, I posted a now famous or infamous video on Twitter of me doing the video was a 230 kilo deadlift. And I said something along the lines of, I keep hearing about how biological men have no strength advantage over women in 2019. So watch me destroy the British women's deadlift record without trying. P.S. I identified as a woman whilst lifting the weight. Don't be a bigot. At the time I posted that, I had 18,000 followers on Twitter. So I thought it was going to get a couple laughs, a few retweets, whatever. Very quickly, I realized that I had done something. I didn't exactly know what it was, but the video hit 10,000 views in about 10 minutes. And it just kept growing and growing. By the time I went to bed that night, it was 300,000. Woke up in the morning, 500,000, hit 1 million later that day. And it just kept going and going and going. At one point, I remember this, I was gaining about 100 followers an hour for weeks on end. Mm-hmm. So I hit 20K, 30K, as it kept on going. I mean, today I think I'm at, 860,000 something Twitter followers. Mm-hmm. But this video put me on the map for millions of people, including some very high profile people like Joe Rogan, whose podcast I've now been on twice, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Piers Morgan, all these media figures around the world, and then so many people who have ended up becoming fans, supporters, and followers of what I do. Main thing I actually do is making music. I'm also an author. I run a podcast called Real Talk with Zuby. I'm a public speaker. So it's been a wild ride over these last few years, but that is how it all started, with that deadlift video. So to this day, if you Google search British women's deadlift record, I think my name still comes up right at the beginning and my Wikipedia page. So no, it looks like no woman's been able to break that record just yet. So there we are.
So this inspired our topic today, which is, are modern women men? And we're going to react to a clip from Matt Walsh. And I just want to get, since we have a full panel full of women today, everyone's take on it.
Yeah.
Here you go. There.
With the fluidity of these things, how do I know if I'm a woman?
That's a great question.
I like scented candles.
Yeah.
I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I know?
Yeah, Matt, that question right there, that question is when it's asked with a lot of curiosity, right? That's the beginning of a lot of people's gender identity development journeys.
If my mom who gave birth to me is a woman, and my wife is a woman, though I haven't asked her, maybe I should. But if they're all women, and also the boy who sits down with you and says, I think I'm a girl, actually is one, then what is a woman?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
I don't care if you think you're a sheepdog and you come into my store. It don't matter to me. Just don't come in and try to shove that shit down my throat.
If it makes someone feel better, what about their feelings?
I don't give a shit about their feelings.
What about in the Star Wars universe? Jar Jar Binks, pansexual, do you think? Transgender?
Why would I even
It's his truth.
Well, it ain't true.
You're not a gender studies major, or are you?
No.
No? Okay. How do you know that you're a man?
How do I know that I'm a, I guess because I got a dick.
Yes. So what is a woman?
Why do you ask that question?
I just really like to know.
What do you think the answer to that question is?
Well, I'm asking. That's why I came to a college professor who's this is what you do.
What other kinds of answers have you gotten?
a lot of like this where you're not answering. I've gotten a lot of that. So
I think it's interesting that you say that some of the people you've interviewed have been reluctant to answer it, and I think that has a lot to do with the questions that preceded it and the way that you've conducted yourself in the interview.
how have I conducted myself?
How do you think you've conducted yourself?
Beta.
You just really don't want to answer the questions, do you?
I came today very willing and enthusiastic about answering questions about women's and gender sexuality studies, which is
So
the
you
work that I
wanted
do.
you wanted to answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essential.
Shout out to Matt Walsh. Shout out to Matt
Okay,
Walsh.
so my first question for the panel is, what is a woman? And
Who's going
why don't they want to answer it? And so you can start and then go all the way around.
Okay. I believe that a woman is a human being that is born with certain areas of their body and their mind that is completely different to a man. That's the best way. I've never even been asked that question, but that's the best way I can describe it. I believe a woman has a different mind to a man, a different wiring, and a completely different body. And we also have a completely different reproductive system.
Okay. What about you?
Should I go last or should I go now?
No, you can go now. Or do you want to go
No,
last?
I'd like to hear the other answer.
Okay, then you can go first.
To me, a woman, by definition, would be someone who has 2 X chromosomes and possesses a vagina as a standard.
Okay.
That's what I'd say.
Oh my God, I don't know. Because it can't be based on biological factors.
Oh boy.
Because,
What?
like, women,
There you
it
go.
doesn't matter anyway if you have a vagina. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, I guess a woman is someone that feels like a woman. If you feel, because I can't even say it's feminine.
My record stands.
Yeah.
My record stands.
That's what I mean. I
Okay.
can't really answer it. I can't lie.
Okay, go ahead.
I would say a woman is, same like these other ladies, what they said. They've got 2 breasts, they've got a vagina, they're able to give birth. That is a woman. And also they've got sentimental feelings,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, a man could have a sentimental feeling, but I feel like with men, that's more of, them finding their feminine side, so that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Auntie, you want to go?
Well, I hope I know who I am or what I am.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
A woman's a female, biological female with a womb, ovaries,
Mm-hmm.
and a vagina.
Okay, Jess.
Yeah. That's essentially what Auntie said.
Mm.
Is a woman. You're you're born a female. You have a vagina, you have breasts, you have wombs, you have ovaries. And I think the reason why they don't want to answer it is because they want to be politically correct or whatever. And it's frustrating because I feel like if you ask a dude, what does it mean to be a man? They'll be able to say it. When it comes to women, they say, what does it mean to be a woman? And they're like, well, and it's like, it's irritating because it's like, I'll let Zuby answer.
What do you think about the
Yeah.
guys in this that weren't answering? Are they women?
It's the people, I've seen multiple videos, and it's people that have studied women's, whatever it is within women's, and you ask them, what is women? Well, what is it to you? It's like, no, we're asking you because you studied it, so you tell us, Mr. Professor.
Can I just say that I forgot that second part of what you was asking us?
Like why they
I
won't
think-
answer it?
Yeah, because if they answered it truthfully, they'll be all out of jobs.
Mm.
They'll be because they're making money from talking rubbish, from fooling people. So, and the thing is, I hate when you answer a question with a question. And that's exactly what they did all the time. So imagine if they stood there after teaching people, oh, you can be this bi, this, and this trans, this, and you can identify as this. And then all of a sudden they say, we were lying. Come on, they're not going to, they might get sued. You know, they will be ostracized. And I think that's why they don't answer, because they've been lying to people and they don't want to tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, shortest definition possible, a woman is an adult human female. You've gone into more depth on exactly what that means. 2 X chromosomes, female reproductive capacity, womb, cervix, vagina, the whole plumbing. Completely different frame, different body, completely different hormonal profile, and so on to a man. The reason why those people won't answer that question is, number one, the reason why a small percentage of people won't answer that is because they're ideologically captured. They're ideologically possessed by gender ideology, which has roots going back many, many decades. But the majority of them won't answer it because they're cowards. Simple as that.
100% agree.
Simple as that.
How do
Can
you,
I
ho-
just
how do you,
clarify?
how do you, yeah.
Do you guys think Bob Risky and Caitlyn Jenner are not
No.
women?
No,
Who
they're
is-
not.
wait, who
okay.
Of course not.
Wait, who and who?
So Caitlyn Jenner was Bruce Jenner, and then Bob Risky, the Nigerian fashionista, he was a man, but now he identifies as
They
a
were
woman.
born as men, so they are
they're not
men.
women. Oh, okay.
You can't
This
change your
is-
sex.
I mean, personally, I think they could be whatever they want to be, but you
Sure.
guys are like,
Wait, so I have a question. Could I be a dog?
If you identify as
if
it?
I identified it as a dog and I started saying woof woof, could I be a dog?
If you identify the way the rules work, if you identify,
Because it's
yeah.
the same thing.
but that's
like,
a whole different species, man.
Yeah.
That's like,
okay, what
Can,
if
can she be black?
Yeah, okay. That's my next question.
well, apparently now you can.
Hey.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Transracialism makes more sense than transgenderism.
You say it makes more sense.
I said transracialism makes more sense than transgenderism.
How?
Because race is actually a spectrum. Race is actually a social construct. Gender is binary. There's male and female. That's it. There's nothing else. Right? Race is actually a spectrum, right? If I were to have a child with an Asian woman, my child is going to be mixed. If she is mixed and we have a child, the child is going to be, race is it's actually a social construct. Yes, it's based on our DNA and ancestral history, but these terms we use, nobody's actually black. Nobody's actually white. No one's actually these literal colors, right? If someone is mixed race, with the fact that we even call them black, right? If we call Drake black or we call Barack Obama black, right? They're just as white as they are black, but due to the social construct, we call them black in many cases. So it's actually socially constructed and it's genuinely a spectrum. You can meet someone and you're like, okay, what race are you? And it's like, well, I don't know. Like my grandparents are from here, my mom's from here, my dad's from here, you know, but their gender, it's a simple binary. So if you can, so it would make much more sense for me to identify as, I don't know, a different ethnicity, identify as Jamaican or identify as Indian. That makes more sense and is also more believable than me identifying as a woman. So if you're opening the door and you're accepting the arguments of transgenderism, you'd also have to, if you're going to be logically and rationally consistent, you'd also have to allow people to identify as whatever race or ethnicity, perhaps nationality, even age, right? It's more believable that I'm 30 years old than it is that I'm a woman, right? So why can't I identify as 30? Right? I look like I could be 30. I feel like I could be 30. So this is what people are opening the doors to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I identify as 16.
And people can do what they want, by the way.
So
if you're an adult, you can live your life however you want, right? If you're a man and you want to wear dresses and take hormones and do whatever you want, you can. But you are never going to be a female. You can't be.
So, for example, if let's say Pearl, today she wakes up and say, "Oh, I'm Jamaican. I identify as a Jamaican woman." That's acceptable.
No, he's saying it's more.
I'm saying
acceptable
it. I'm saying
than
it would make
turning
more
to a
sense than
woman.
her saying that she's a man.
It's comparing the two factors.
I'm saying
transgender is saying that it makes more sense because being a race is something we created, but in terms of being a man and a woman, that's a biological thing. God created a man and a woman.
Yeah,
we
I
can't
understand
change
that.
that. So it's saying that if we humans didn't create that someone's black, someone's white, we'll all just be people. That's basically what.
Yeah, I mean, Pearl could genuinely. I mean, she might feel black. Someone might identify more with black culture or Korean culture or whatever. But that would be laughed at. In fact, this has been, because there are people who do identify as transracial, and people laugh at them. But then those same people will, scream at you if you say that a man can't be a woman and vice versa, right? And it's one thing to be polite and kind to people, and I think this is where you're coming from a compassionate angle.
I think mine is more. Okay. I don't like. I think people are speaking from a position of privilege. You're saying this because you've never felt like you were something else. Sure. Imagine being born.
I feel like I'm a dog every day.
No, but seriously, imagine you were born in a body, knowing that for you to come out, you're gonna take a lot of abuse. People were killed for this. I just don't believe that people were doing it just for the sake of it. I do think that's how they feel.
Don't you think that society has a part to play?
Would it?
Not if you're getting killed for it.
Not killed, but in terms of thinking, oh, yeah, I'm a man or I'm a woman.
Also, to go back to the transracial thing, black people were killed and people want to be black. It's what does that have to do with them?
Infinitely more people have been killed for being black than being
But how is that different from just going off of his example and him explaining race and transgender? People been killed for everything. So should we start being right? And then stuff is going to happen like this, like a video we're about to watch where a teacher shows up, how the teacher shows up, and it's just like, oh, it's okay. She's trans now.
Yeah, and by the way, gender dysphoria absolutely exists. There are absolutely people who feel like they are in the wrong body or feel like they identify more with the opposite sex. That exists, right? I'm not questioning that. But, there are people who are anorexic and they're extremely skinny and they think that they're fat, right? They believe that they are fat. They have an image disorder in their brain.
So you think it's a mental disorder?
Yes.
If you literally believe that you are something that you're not, what else do we call that? If I believed that I was, to use Pearl as an example, a dog, and I could genuinely believe that. By the way, have you heard of body integrity dysmorphia? This is a real thing. Body integrity dysmorphia is when people feel like they should be missing a limb or they feel like they should be disabled, and to feel whole, to feel that their true selves, they'll go and they'll amputate an arm or amputate a leg because they feel like their body is not, they feel like they're supposed to be disabled. And they can go and amputate a limb. That's a disorder, right? That's a disorder. There's people who've intentionally blinded themselves because they identify as a blind person, and they go so far as actually chemically blinding themselves.
That is objective.
Yes.
I know you guys see a man and a woman as an objective thing, because that's what you were saying. Biologically, you're either a man or a woman. I personally don't think so.
Oh, okay. Show me someone who's neither. Show me the person who's not a man or a woman. I mean, you can go out on the street right now and watch the next 10,000 people walk past. You can identify with 100% accuracy whether each person is a man or a woman.
But being a woman is not about what you look like, though. You could look like a man because maybe you're a tomboy. So say a woman that was born.
A tomboy is still a girl or a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it could appear to you as a man. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not about the appearance.
No, I
agree. It's not about the
I
appearance.
played 12 years of basketball. I know some pretty butch girls, and you could still tell they were girls.
They're still girls. Yeah, they're still girls. If you can look at any cell in their body, it'll have XX chromosomes, right? You could look at their skeleton. You could look at their reproductive organs, any or all of the above.
But that's my point. Being a woman is not just about your physical. It's not just about your biological.
Okay, what's your definition then?
I can't even define it because I think
it's not. How would you define yourself? If someone asked you,
how do you know you're a woman?
But I'm different to other women that I felt maybe like a man that felt like he was a woman and then transformed. I'm different to that because I was born as a woman. Okay. And I would say
How do you know?
Well, I bleed. I bleed 3 times.
Do men do that?
Well, not 3 times, once.
I think even that in itself, that defines a woman, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Has a man
But then
has,
what
has,
if
have you ever
someone
has a
that's-
man ever had a period and a menstrual cycle? Show me one. There's 8 billion people in the world. Just show me one.
I don't know.
It's never happened, has
I
it?
just-
Okay, if you
God,
Can I
this is
just-
hard. This is hard.
Yeah.
can I just say something? If you had skipped a period for whatever reason,
Yeah.
or like you didn't have a period for 6 months but you weren't pregnant, would that make you feel like a guy because you haven't had a period?
No.
Okay.
I just.
So it's not about bleeding. You literally just made the point. It's not about that.
No, it's not just about that.
Literally,
I'm
you can't conceptualize a woman. That's what I'm trying to
no,
say.
but you can.
I just-
Adult, human, female.
I just don't. You know what I find really hard to understand is that
I'm fine.
I'm not gonna I'm not happy with anyone who's trying to steal my sex or my
Yes.
gender.
You shouldn't be.
Right? So I would not accept. I was a tomboy growing up. Not once did I think I was a man. Not once did I want to be a man. But I was a tomboy growing up, and it pisses me off that people are gonna come and they're gonna try and steal my gender, and they're gonna try and say that they're the same as me.
I call
I
it
don't care
I call
whether-
it gender blackface.
I don't care whether I don't care whether they're offended.
Yeah.
I'm offended that they want to tell me who I am.
Yeah.
These are, look,
But
So-
we can't tell them who
Yo,
they
if-
are.
if
So
you-
as
if
far as I'm
That's
concerned,
what's-
I am 54 years old. I'm not going to get to this age and somebody tell me that, what makes you a woman, Jennifer? That's crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's
I
crazy.
think,
like you want me to tell you.
I'll be straight up. I think it's misogynistic.
And I don't want a man standing next
know,
to me
I
and he's going to put on a dress. I don't care whether he's got bigger boobies than me, whether he's cut his
Yeah.
dick off. As far as I'm concerned, you're not the same as me.
No, and it's a
And
and
I'm
it's a
not going to
market.
accept it. And you can't tell me that I'm anything than a female. I hear all these other different terminologies for who I am. No, I'm a female.
Birthing person.
I'm a woman. Or what is it, psi or whatever they call it? I don't know. But
Cis.
that's it.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, well, that's what I mean. Because I'm not
violating.
interested because
Yeah.
that is not who I am. I'm a female. I'm a woman. And they got hermaphrodites. They're very rare.
Yeah.
Even then, as far as I'm concerned, if you've got a woman, you can bleed in your hermaphrodite, cut your dick off.
There's no hermaphrodites in the human
Because
species.
you
It doesn't
can
exist.
you can actually give birth.
What
so as far
about
as
the
I'm
ones
concerned,
born with bi-
that's what I said.
reproductive?
If you've got one
Intersex.
or the other,
Intersex.
once you've got a womb, you're a woman. As far as I'm
But
concerned,
they've got
as far as you've got a womb, you're a woman. As far as I'm concerned, even if you've got both and you've got a womb, you can give birth. That makes you a woman.
So-
That's the difference between a man and a woman. Is that a woman has a womb? If you ain't got a womb, you're not a woman. As far as I'm concerned.
So
What about the women that can't reproduce?
That's
no,
You still
that's
have a
a-
womb.
that's a
You
rarity.
still have a
Yeah.
womb.
That's a rarity, and that's an exception. And these
But are
people
they
that are
not a woman? Are
extremely
they not
rare.
women?
That's extremely
still
rare.
adult- they're still
We're
adult human
talking about-
females.
We're talking about the majority. We're talking about the majority. And as far as I'm concerned, no womb, no woman.
I feel like you know what we're saying, and you know. As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible.